Alright guys, so today we're going to take a look at a pair of earbuds I didn't initially check out when they were released, and that is the Razer Hammerhead Pro Hyperspeed. And I don't really even know why I didn't check them out initially. I think it's just because there's so many earbuds, it's kind of easy to just overlook some. And it's kind of surprising because the original Hammerhead Pro was one of my favorite earbuds at the time, and the Hyperspeed actually adds some things that really make these interesting. But I think this is one of those cases where it's actually a good thing I didn't review them when they first came out, because there were some reviews that weren't really favorable on the Hyperspeed edition, and over time they've done a lot of updates. They've really altered these earbuds quite a bit, it seems, and they've also dropped the price because they originally retailed for $199, although right now they're actually $149, and I think that's the price they're pretty much set at. And at $149, this is a pair that I feel like really competes with pairs like the AirPod Pros. And sound quality wise, it even competes with some pairs that are more expensive. So we're going to talk about all of that. We're going to talk about what all comes inside the box and basically see why I think this is a pretty big contender, especially coming in at $149. Now, before we get into the features, one of the main things that separate these from a lot of the other earbuds is it comes with a 2.4 gigahertz wireless dongle. Now, we've seen some other pairs do this, but Razer's a gaming company, so this is kind of to be expected because having that 2.4 gigahertz dongle means you could plug it into your laptop or your PC or your Steam Deck, your Switch, even pretty much every phone at this point, because even the iPhone 15 uses the USB-C dongle. And this pretty much cuts out any kind of lag. So if you're going to game on your mobile device, this is definitely a pair of earbuds you would do this with, but also just watching media in general, watching videos like this or watching movies, you can always kind of tell, there's going to be some kind of lag with Bluetooth. But on top of the 2.4 gigahertz dongle, this pair does have Bluetooth 5.3. So it's really good at already just kind of fighting off lag without even having to use the dongle. Now, if you're going to use the dongle and Bluetooth at the same time, so let's say you have the dongle plugged into a laptop or a tablet, and you have your actual earbuds connected to your phone using Bluetooth, you can have them connected at the same time, but it also allows you to go in their app, which these are also compatible with, and turn them into a do not disturb mode. So if you are gaming and you don't want a call to just immediately cancel out your audio or just interfere with you gaming in general, you can turn that do not disturb mode on, and it will just allow you to keep gaming and not be disturbed. Some other things that this pair has is it also has Razer's Chroma RGB lighting. This is something you can control and switch around the lighting and change the colors and change the way that it pulses, or it just stays on, or you could just turn it off altogether. So again, it gives it that gamer type feel. Some other things is the case is also a Qi wireless charging case. This is always something I prefer over just having to keep up with like the USB-C cable that's included here. And then as far as the actual battery life, now it says that you can get 6 hours on the earbuds and about 30 hours using the case. Now this is with the noise canceling off, because this pair also has noise canceling, but I've noticed that most of the time I'm getting about 4 to maybe 4.5 hours on the earbuds. So it's really just going to depend on the volume level and if you're using noise canceling or the gaming mode that these also have, to really how much battery life you're going to get out of these. Now, before we get into the app and what some of the other features that are offered in the app, one thing I do want to point out about the case and the earbuds, the case is a matte finish. It picks up fingerprints just by you looking at it. You don't even have to touch it, and there's fingerprints on it somehow. And when you go to get the earbuds out of the case, it is a bitch to get these earbuds out of the case. I mean, it's not just simple, pick them up, grab them. I mean, like, I'm having an angle. Now, I do have like sausage fingers, so it's a little bit harder to get to them. So it's kind of tricky. It's not one of those you just reach in, pull them out. It's not as simple as it looks. And maybe that's because the earbuds are glossy, and again, that also makes them a fingerprint magnet. It kind of makes them hard to grip onto, and it's just kind of slippery when you're putting them in your ear and when you're moving them around. It's just kind of a weird choice. Now, as far as controlling the earbuds, they do use touch controls, and I am happy to say that they give you control over everything. Now you can go in the app if you want to switch some controls around, but it doesn't mean you have to do it to sacrifice one thing over the other. You, again, do have control over everything. But speaking of the app allows you to keep these updated. It has some EQ options built in. Now, the THX mode, because these are THX certified, is already on out of the box. If you want a little bit more bass, there's a bass enhanced mode. There's some different ones you can switch between, or you can just customize the EQ settings the way that you want. Now, some other features is it does have, obviously you can switch it between the noise canceling and the transparency mode, but if you're in noise canceling, you can actually adjust how much noise canceling you want to take advantage of. So it has like a 0 to 10, 10 being the max. And noise canceling on these, I would just say, is okay. This is not an area where these compete with the AirPod Pros or the Sony or the Bose or anything like that. It does a pretty decent job against lower tones, but people talking, you're going to hear the same as you would just any other pair of earbuds. Now, also within the app is where you would turn on the gaming mode. Again, you can do this on the earbuds. This is also where you would turn on the do not disturb mode if you're going to be using the dongle and Bluetooth at the same time. And the Razer app overall is actually pretty good. There's a lot of earbuds out there that has apps that's just, you can tell are thrown together, but I can tell that Razer put a decent amount of time into making this app work. Now, if you're going to use the transparency mode that these have, I feel like the transparency mode is better than, the noise canceling, which I don't feel is as effective as I would have hoped. The transparency mode allows you to hear your surroundings. I was able to carry on a conversation without actually taking them out. So they did a good job with that. And the noise canceling they did a good job with, but for its price range, there are some better options out there. Now, if you're going to use these outdoors, it does come in with an IPX4 rating, basically like the standard IP rating when it comes to noise canceling earbuds. So it'll be fine against splashes and rain and sweat and things like that. This just isn't one of those pairs that you would submerge into water. And then as far as the mics, now the microphones on here are okay, but I feel like Razer, especially knowing they're a gaming company and knowing that people are going to use the mics for gaming, would have put maybe a little bit more into these. I feel like it, you could hear me clearly, but it doesn't sound extremely natural. It kind of has that like tinny feel to it, but it does do a good job of picking up my voice, and I also feel like it does a pretty decent job of blocking out my surroundings. But you guys can be a judge by listening to a test here. So here's the mic test using the Razer Hammerhead Pro Hyperspeed. And overall, I think the mics are doing an okay job. I just, again, feel like there's a little bit too much of an artificial sound to my voice, but this is what it would sound like if you were to take a call. And so now here's the mic test with the crowd noise being played, which you can hear here. And so this is what it would sound like if you were to take a call in public. So now let's talk about the sound. And I feel like the sound is where these have greatly improved over when they were first released, because if you even look at the Sound Guys review, now this is kind of odd, one of their cons was the sound quality, but when you look at their actual rating, I think they give them like a 9.5 or a 9.8 out of 10, which is damn near perfect. So I don't know if they just didn't update the cons list from when the earbuds actually got updated, but they've come a long way, and the sound quality on these, in my opinion, really become quite comparable to the AirPod Pros. I feel like there's more bass impact with the Razers, and that's with the THX setting. If you want more bass, putting that bass enhance mode actually does allow the bass to have a little bit more impact, but also kind of be a little bit more looser. Now that's kind of trying to replicate like having a subwoofer, but again, I feel like the best EQ setting is that THX mode. You can tell that they really went in and just kind of dialed things in, where the bass is nice and punchy, it's tight, it's quick. The treble can get pretty bright if you're going to listen to these at like louder volumes, but the mids on these stand out no matter what you're listening to. And with a gaming focused pair of earbuds or headphones or whatever, you always want mids to stand out, because that's where you're going to hear dialogue. That's where you're going to hear footsteps. You're going to hear subtle things while gaming. and you can tell that Razer wanted to make sure that you could clearly hear these. Now, Razer's not always been known for this. Razer used to be known for just pushing the low end where the bass was just super muddy. Bass would just be sloppy and roll over everything else. And luckily that's not the case with the Hammerhead Pro Hyperspeeds. I'm extremely impressed with the sound quality. No matter what I was listening to, metal, pop, hip hop, country, classical, gaming, movies, just podcasts, no matter what it was, I could always hear everything clearly. I could hear every little detail, and bass did not come in and just destroy everything. But another thing that I was really surprised with is the sound stage and the sound imaging. Somehow, with them trying to make this sound like a dynamic sounding pair of earbuds, these still have plenty of space. Everything sounds pretty well separated, and it sounds like it has pretty good distance away from you. So being able to tell where different things are coming from, which again is really important if you're going to be gaming on these, and being able to just pick apart instruments, this pair really didn't have an issue with. So overall, I'm glad I did not review these when they first came out, because at the $200 price tag and the sound that they had when they were initially released, it really wouldn't be a good buy. But the fact that now it's dropped $50, it's been fine-tuned when it comes to the sound quality, and having that 2.4 gigahertz wireless dongle makes these pretty universal across the board. I mean, there's a lot of incredible earbuds out there, but they're not always great with media. So having that dongle, but also having Bluetooth 5.3 and having the gaming mode, if you're going to use them in Bluetooth mode, pretty much means no matter what type of media you're going to use them for, you don't have to worry about lag. And the sound quality is excellent. The sound quality is definitely comparable to the AirPod Pros with slightly more bass. And I also feel like it's just comparable to the more expensive brands out there. I think Razer did a really good job with these. I just wish they went a different direction as far as the design goes. I think the long stems are a little obnoxious. I think, the glossy finish on the earbuds just make these stand out, not necessarily in a good way. And the case picks up fingerprints way too easily that it's not always going to be the best pair to look at. But luckily they're in your ears. You can't really see them anyway. And sound quality and performance with different things are a lot more important. And that is where these check off all the right boxes. So yeah, at $150, I think this is a great buy, especially if you like to use your earbuds with just all different types of tech and all different types of media. These can definitely hold their own, and at this price, I highly recommend them. But guys, that's my video on the Razer Hammerhead Pro Hyperspeed. Thank you so much for checking out this video. Thank you so much for checking out all the other videos. And as always, make sure to stay tuned for more.